I'm Jeff Brightwell. Welcome to the Wolf Chase Toyota Insider of the Memphis Tiger Network. We're joined by Matt Reiser. And, Coach, you talk about baseball being a 56-game schedule. It's got its ebbs and flows. Last week, we're coming off a 5-game losing streak. Now you've won 4 of your last 5. You've gotten yourself back to 500 as you start to approach the midway point of the season and the start of conference season.
Yeah, like you said, last week sat here, obviously down, did not play very well at all. I thought we pitched all right last week, but needed to put some of these other things together. Offense had a really down week last week. We were able to do anything offensively. Would have been a much different tale for us. So obviously they took that upon their shoulders. Again, they came out with some tenacity about themselves and had the meeting there on Sunday night after we'd got swept on the weekend there at our own tournament, and just made it a point that, hey man, we got to do this. This is, again, we talk about being a player-led team. These are the type of things they're going to have to do throughout the season when we face a little bit of adversity. And so to see them face what we did, that 5-game losing streak, to pop out this week, obviously double-digit runs, 3 of the 5 games this week offensively, prove themselves. Hey man, we're back to doing our deal, and pitch a little bit with it to do as well. So we get the run rule there on Tuesday. Obviously continue to swing the bats hot there on Wednesday, and then obviously into a good weekend against UNO, who's going to compete for the Southland Conference Championship. Blake's done a fantastic job down there of turning that program around. They were in a very similar situation we were probably in 8-9 years ago, and now obviously they're competing for a Southland Conference Championship each year. And honestly, he's got the arms this year. Where traditionally they've been a really very powerful offense. They still got the offense there, much deeper on the mound for those guys. So a good weekend for us to get out there, get down there, and just battle out for a weekend series.
I guess you go back to the 2 midweek games, 16-2 over North Alabama, 13-7 over Arkansas State. Obviously, the offense pitched fairly well in those games. Pitched a lot of people, especially against Arkansas State. But the fact is, you get down 1-0 to North Alabama, you get down 3-0 to Arkansas State, and immediately you see the response from your team.
100%, and we talked about just the energy in the dugout. What we lost and lacked last week, we need 37, and that's the reality of this thing, right? We're not going to have 1 or 2 individuals do it. We're going to need a couple individuals to carry us, but at the end of the day, it's going to be 37 that gets the whole job done. So I thought our energy in the dugout was completely different throughout the entire week. We came out with just a different sense of positivity about ourselves, a different sense of energy about ourselves. And like you said, we were down 3-0 against Arkansas State in the first 3 hitters, and you would have thought we hit the 3-run home run, right? We were up 3-0. So just really good to see guys getting involved, and you see more and more of these roles being played, right? More guys are jumping in defensively or pinch hit, or obviously we're figuring out a little bit of the middle relief stuff now as well. So really just becoming a complete team effort, and good to see that this week. But we want to build on that, right? We don't want just 1 week here and then the next week go back down, and then another week back and forth and be this 500. We want to be able to build off this week and go into this next week going to conference play.
Solid series of win on the road at UNO going into what will be conference play this coming weekend. But UNO, solid program and a very proud tradition down there.
Yeah, exactly right. They had a lot of festivities going on this weekend. A lot of people don't know this. UNO was the first Louisiana team to make it to the College World Series, not LSU. So they were able to recognize Coach Maestri, longtime head coach there. He's the godfather of baseball there in Louisiana. Just done a tremendous job, obviously, there at UNO. And then they honored the 74 and 84 teams, that went to the World Series. So just obviously a lot of festivities going on down there. But at the end of the day, we didn't let that distract us. We went down there and took care of business. We had a great start from Dave Warren there on Friday night. The numbers, end up not telling all the tale. Ended up getting 4 earned runs. We probably shouldn't have run it back out there for the 8th, but we did just where we were at. When you look at it, Jeff, because of the doubleheader there on Saturday, we played 5 games in 5 days, and that's obviously a lot, especially on that pitching style. So we were trying to get extended a little bit more out of Dave. He had the pitch count down, but just a tremendous outing and effort from him there on Friday night to kind of set the tone for us. And then Braden Sanders and Colin Stepper, man, what they did out of the bullpen for us, just tremendous. This is what we talked about. If we could get to the back end of the game with a lead with those guys, having Stepper back now after being out for that first, week and a half, 2 weeks, to be able to help, Braden Sanders do his deal. And then a guy like Curtis, right, who threw 3 weeks in the midweek and got the save in the midweek, allows you not to have to use those guys when they're prepared for Friday and Saturday. It was a big call to tell, but the reason why we got, those series win at 2 out of 3.
You talk about Sanders, a couple of saves at UNO. I believe those 3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, gets 4 strikeouts for you.
Yeah, and again, when Bull's in the game, man, you feel really good about it being over. He goes out there with just a certain energy and tenacity again about himself that the guys just feed off of, and they continue to feed each other, back and forth. So really good to see. We've learned how to channel it in the right direction. when to throttle down, when to kind of ease off the gas pedal a little bit. But it's always down, right? There's always some type of gas in there. Just got to figure out how much we need at certain points, and he's really figured out how to do that. The dugout has figured out how to do that around him as well. So obviously that young man, all he's done so far has been very well deserved. He's worked tremendously hard for this, and he's an extreme competitor. So again, makes me feel comfortable there in the dugout. If you see me with like no pulse on ninth inning, bases loaded up by one, the reason is just because I'm so confident Braden Sanders being out there on the mound for us to finish it off.
You look at your lineup and you look at the Comptons, the Baskins, the Seals, the Stewarts, but now Seth Cox this week, 417, 3 homers, 12 RBIs. He's added a little oomph into the lineup as well.
100%. And, we were using him as an arm and in the DH spot, trying to use him as a two-way guy. He's had a little bit of arm issues here in the last couple of weeks, which we direly need to get him back there as well. So hopefully next week or two we'll get him back to help us in that middle relief. But with that, obviously we were kind of mixing and matching, trying to figure out who's in left and who's going to DH. Came out of lineup for a couple games, but when we inserted him back in, man, he has just gone off. And again, just a young man who, again, is extremely competitive, wants the moment, wants to be in the box in the big moment, wants to be on the mound in the big moment, just enjoys competing. And so he's been a nice addition there to see him kind of go and help this offense do what we need to do, which is score some runs. So the balance of him being able to not swing and miss, the balance of him to have the power, like you said, the 3 home runs, the ability to be able to hit a backside line drive and score 2 runs with 2 strikes. Those things he's done has been just great to see, and it's really kind of well versed our lineup 1 through 9.
Should be a fun week coming up, and that means a lot of challenge, but a lot of opportunity. You're going to start off Tuesday night down in Starkville. Mississippi State now goes into the polls at 21, coming off a series of win against LSU.
Yeah, they had a great weekend. They're coming off a midweek split down at MGM Graham, where I think they lost by 1 to South Alabama, beat UNO by 1 in extra innings, and then obviously took 2 out of 3 from LSU this past weekend there at home. So big series for them this past weekend. They're feeling good about what they've been doing. Got off to a slow start early, but I think they've won 11 of their last 12 or something like that. So they've really been rocking and rolling, doing what they need to do there. So it'd be good to get back in there and get after a good quality club like that there on Tuesday. Also, we're going into conference play, so I wouldn't imagine we go too extended with some guys. This is where we'll kind of be able to flip the rotation a little bit if we want to, or get some of these midweek guys more into the bullpen for the weekends, to help with that middle relief, especially if we're having these doubleheaders, with the rain and everything else going on. So it'll be a good week for us, good test for us to go down there. Great environment in Starkville, obviously one of the best in college baseball. So we'll be excited to get down there and do that. Also, before we head down to South Florida and go see Billy and those guys.
All right, headed down to Tampa. We'll be in some heat and humidity, I'd assume, for the first time in an extended period, playing USF out to a nice start. And it's kind of the Rick Jones coaching tree. Billy Mole and you played together at Tulane, starting to see those coaches pop up around the country.
Yeah, to have our first American game, to be against South Florida, obviously my first American game as a head coach, to do that against Billy, it'll be a fun weekend, man. Again, the good Lord works in good ways, man, and I don't think you could design this any better to set up a Rick Jones script for game number 1 to start off the 2024 American Conference schedule. So be excited to get down there. Obviously, they're off to a decent start as well. They played some stiff competition in the midweeks, and obviously had a good weekend there as well. So again, a club, once you get into conference play, man, the gloves come off, and it's time to get after it and battle. And it'll be tooth and nail for each and every game. But the only thing we'll focus on also is that Friday night, man. Get in there, get ready to compete. A club that can swing it, and we know that. A club that's got some starters there on the front end as well with the back end guys. So this is a club preseason wise. It was a lot of returners had come back where they got a lot of buzz and a lot of talk going on about their club. So big excited to get down there and get on the road and get after this in this first American Conference weekend.
Last thing before we wrap things up. I know last week you're frustrated. You win 4-5 now, but 22 games now into the season. Kind of some things you've talked about the team, early playing time, and the player-led meeting and the players lead things, third head coach in 3 years. Do you think now that you're getting into the middle portion of the season, they're figuring some things out themselves and they're laying things to the back saying it's us 37?
Yeah,
here's how we get things done.
100%. Well, the entire season's a growing process, right? You hope to continue to grow to where you're your best at the best time, right there at the end when it's time to win championships. We've done a good job of growing as the season has gone along, and so obviously I think when we hit a still point where we're not growing, I think that's where you have some concerns. The fact that we've continued to grow and continue to do things with adversity, but now we need the growth part of, hey man, we've had some success. Let's learn how to grow and continue that success into another week, continue to grow from that. So we'll be excited to see that this week. Again, like you said, we knew the right ingredients were here from a fiending to win, wanting to win, guys who are bought in, guys who have been here for years, just learning how to do it in the way we want to do it. So it's been excited that the non-conference schedule. Here we got one more left before we get into conference play. That this is kind of all coming together, and obviously when we start on Friday, it's back to 0-0 when we play South Florida.
All right, Coach. Talk to you on the road this week.
Sounds good, Jeff. Appreciate you.
That's Matt Riser. I'm Jeff Brightwell with the Wolf Chase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.